Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake ELLENBOGEN. Today I'm going to be giving you guys updates according to Sean McVay on the injuries that everybody wants to know. We're going to be talking about Cooper Kupp. Not a lot because we already did an entire video on him. We're going to be talking about KT Leveston. We're going to be talking about Joe Noteboom, Steve Avila, Puka Nacua, John Johnson III, Jonah Jackson, and yes, Tyler Higbee. We finally got some sort of clarity or update or whatever you want to call it on Tyler Higbee. Before we dive into that, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. Check out the Discord. If you're a Rams fan, I have a Rams Discord channel. Essentially, you should just look at it as a 24/7 Rams server where you can talk about the Rams whenever you want, group chat, whatever you want to call it. Be sure to sign up. Link is in the description below. And in addition to that, there's another link in the description below. You can get $50 instantly when you sign up with Prize Picks, which is today's sponsor. Using my code JKBogan, sign up, make a lineup for $5 at minimum. And if you do, regardless if you win or lose, you will get $50 added to your account. I love Prize Picks because we all know projections. We all know, different, okay, this guy's going to do this guy's going to do this. We love it, right? Well, if you are feeling really good about a certain player, Prize Picks has all of those players, whether it's baseball, football, what have you. And obviously, with Thursday Night Football approaching, you want to get in on the action. Denver taking on New Orleans. Sean Payton goes back to New Orleans. Probably going to be looking for revenge. Well, if you think Bo Nix is going to do something, there you go. You pick 2 to 6 projections. You do more or less, whatever you believe, and that's how you play the game. So you don't even have to win. $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup using my code JKBogan, link below. All right, guys. So Sean McVay went on, obviously the Sean McVay show, and I thought it was very interesting. We didn't get everything, right? Because Sean McVay is very well trained in the art of PR and coach speak, but we did get, Cooper Kupp coming off a grade 3 high ankle sprain is a possibility to play. Now, if you want more details on my thoughts about that and everything, that's in another video, so I'm not going to spend that much time on Cooper Kupp. But same with KT Leveston. I'm going to have a separate video for him. He's designated to return from IR in the 21-day window, meaning now they just opened it up. He can practice, and they have 3 weeks to determine if they are going to take KT Leveston, the rookie who has no experience in the NFL, if they want to take him off of IR following an ankle injury. Keep in mind, did not have any preseason at all. So they may decide to keep him on IR. I don't think so. I think they are going to take him off IR and give him an opportunity. But they have that decision to make. If they don't make it in the 21-day window, he automatically is out for the rest of the year. Joe Noteboom, it sounded like he is the closest to returning that Sean McVay put it. So, you have Cooper Kupp, and, he's a possibility. But I would almost go as far as to say Joe Noteboom is going to be active this week. I think it's almost for certain. Just what we were hearing and everything. And Sean McVay was saying, yes, he's going to have, a big workout and everything. But it sounds to me like, they moved on from Jaron Christian. They actually just, terminated his contract, who was on the 53-man roster. And I found that intriguing. That could be for Noteboom. Obviously, they have some practice squad guys that they keep elevating that they're going to run out of elevations for, and they'll have to sign them to the 53-man roster. Those include, but not limited to, of course, Xavier Smith and Akella Witherspoon. Olakunle Fadukasi is an option, linebacker that I think deserves an opportunity to play. Maybe he gets called up, whatever. But no, I think that more than likely that's for Joe Noteboom. Noteboom suffered a sprained ankle. It seems like just sprained ankles for days for the Rams this year. It's been tough. But it sounds like Joe Noteboom could be back this week, or more than likely will be back this week. And in that case, I think he'll end up playing left guard. Sean McVay made sure to mention during the time he was talking about KT Leveston, he made sure to mention that they are evaluating, they are looking at this as a competition on the offensive line. Now, obviously, he's talking about guys like Logan Bruss and Bo Limmer, but he gave a lot of credit to Bo Limmer. Did not mention Logan Bruss by name. But he did say that, there's competition there. They want us to have more competition. They want to be, they want to have more options. And so Joe Noteboom, to me, day one, when he comes back, is your starting left guard. He mentioned he could play guard and tackle. We already knew that. So that's where I stand on that. Now, he broke them up into tiers. So JB Long, voice of the Rams, was asking him on the Coach McVay show, like, where do you put these guys? His tier list was, Cooper Kupp, and he didn't, say tiers, but groups rather. Cooper Kupp, KT Leveston, Joe Noteboom were one group, right? Then the next group, guys that wouldn't return this week, but maybe next week or the week after. You're talking about Steve Avila, sprained MCL. He had surgery for. He is next in line. Then he mentioned Puka Nacua. That was a little bit of a surprise. Puka Nacua, who had a grade 2 PCL sprain, is ahead of Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson isn't even in that group. And then he said John Johnson is in that group. Now, that was a 4 to 6 week injury, and that was around, September 16th, I believe it was, around that. So then you factor in, okay, it's October 16th today. He's got probably beginning of November is when you'll see John Johnson back, and he is going to really help the defense out. I think he is awesome, and the 2 games I watched with him, you can tell he's the real deal. They need that. They need that veteran presence. It's a young defense, but more importantly, when he had his opportunities earlier this year, he looked like one of the best safeties in football. You can't take that away from him. Now, I know he's coming back from a hairline fracture of the scapula, which is his shoulder. I understand that. Painful injury, everything, but I'm not ruling out that he's going to go back and start playing the way he was. So I think based on what we were getting with those groups, Kupp, Leveston, Noteboom could all play this week. You're more than likely going to see Leveston as a healthy scratch, or he'll be depth, but he's not going to start. He's a guy that they're very excited about because of the potential and the athleticism and all of that. And they saw good things out of him. He had some reps at left tackle. He had reps at left guard. So he has some, flexibility there. But he's never played in an NFL game before, and they're not about to throw him in after, being on IR. So Leveston designated to return from the IR. I don't necessarily think he'll play this week or anything, but I think it's a possibility. Joe Noteboom, I really believe is going to play this week. I do think Cooper Kupp plays. Talking about Avila, Nacua, and Johnson, I think we're going to see those guys back after the mini bye. That's what I think. I think you're going to see Thursday Night Football. The Rams aren't going to get anybody back. If Cooper Kupp doesn't play or Noteboom doesn't play week 7, they will be ready for Thursday Night Football against the Vikings. However, I don't expect Avila or Puka Nacua or John Johnson to play in that game. I think that they are going to be saved for the Seahawks game. Give them, an extra almost a week to prepare, 10 days, mini bye week. I think that's kind of what we're going to see. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of how I see it. So we're going to see Avila, Puka Nacua, and John Johnson. And, for week, that's 9 against Seattle. And then Jonah Jackson, he said, is the furthest away with the fractured scapula, obviously shoulder injury. And he had an issue with that, I believe, in camp, so it became something worse. And last but not least, Tyler Higbee, who was listed separate from all these guys because it was a great question. Finally, somebody asked. It came from JB Long, said, what about Tyler Higbee? Where is he at? We haven't heard a lot from him. Comes off a torn ACL after a completely dirty and unnecessary hit by Kirby Joseph, but that's who he is. He did that to TJ Hawkinson, who still has not returned for the Vikings. So it is what it is. But Tyler Higbee, update was mid-season. Sean McVay said he was doing really well, and he's excited to get him back. And, he has great energy around the team and just, was really raving about him. Higbee is loved by this team. He's loved by McVay. He's loved by this organization. I wouldn't be shocked if, maybe he takes a pay cut or something to stick around after this year. But, I think they really like Higbee. They want him back. They know he's going to help. And so My guess is you probably see Jonah Jackson around week 12. He said mid-season, but mid-season for this year would be week 8, week 9. I don't think we're going to see Tyler Higbee week 8 or week 9. So I'm going to say we'd probably see him right around the same time as Jonah Jackson, like week 12, maybe a little bit earlier, but not too much earlier. That was a serious injury that happened this calendar year in January. Not a lot of time. And Sean McVay did mention he's way ahead of schedule. But just because he's way ahead of schedule doesn't mean they're trying to rush him back. This is a very traumatic injury. This is not an injury that you want to rush. This is not an injury you want to play around with. So I like the approach of going that route. And look, I've mentioned, I love Tyler Higbee, and I really like Colby Parkinson. He's just not quite the alpha guy that I was hoping for. Maybe he could turn into that, but he's really, he failed, on that Packers drive. He's got to be able to haul in some of those grabs, and in the red zone he hasn't been great, but he's a solid blocker and he's got potential, and I have the reason to believe that he's going to figure it out at some point. But what is figuring it out? Is it going to be, is he good? Is he great? I don't think he's ever going to be elite. But Tyler Higbee now, this is a guy that has a really good rapport with Matthew Stafford that they definitely want to get back. And I'm just going to say this, I know that they would have Parkinson, Higbee, Davis Allen, Hunter Long. I still think the Rams need to reach out to the Browns. After they just traded Amari Cooper away, I'd be reaching out to the Browns and trying to secure David Njoku. I think Njoku would be perfect for this offense. I still feel like they want some sort of pass catcher. They made a really, really big deal about Brock Bowers. They really tried to get him. They tried to trade up and get Dalton Kincaid the year before. There is an interest there. And if you're saying, well, Colby Parkinson scratched that itch, well, I'll tell you this right now. Even despite the fact they signed Colby Parkinson, and despite the fact Davis Allen made the strides he made, and keep in mind he is dealing with a little bit of a back, or at least he was. So I don't know when we'll see him, if we do see him, whatever. But even with the excitement about Colby Parkinson, this Rams team was still within, keep in mind, they had needs. They didn't get Verse yet. They didn't have Fisk yet. They had to address those. They had other needs. They had offensive line needs, whatever. And they chose to, and obviously they took Verse, but they were really in on trying to get an offensive weapon. And Brock Bowers might already be the best tight end in the league, so I don't think that they were wrong to go after him. But it just tells you a lot about where this team, where they're viewing things. And I just don't think they were interested in Mike Evans. They met with Rome Odunze at the Combine. They never got that pass catcher that they were really eyeing. And as much of a fan as I am of Jordan Whittington, getting a guy in the 6th round wasn't really addressing what they were looking for. So I really like what I've seen out of him, but I still think even with him, even with Nacua, even with Cooper Kupp and Tutu Atwell, I think getting a guy at tight end for a former tight end coach, an offense that people say, well, they don't need a tight end. They don't really use the tight ends. Well, they do, because Parkinson has like 31 targets already. So they absolutely do use tight ends. I think if you got Njoku, it could be huge, but we'll see. Keep an eye on. And I'll say this. Yeah, I've said this in other videos. I've said it on Twitter, whatever. They have 3 games until the trade deadline. They have a chance to get better. And I do think that they will be active at the trade deadline, assuming they win 2 of the next 3. If they win 3 of the next 3, I'd almost guarantee they make a move at the deadline. But we're going to find out. So updates on the injuries. I know a lot of people were asking about Tyler Higbee. We finally got something to chew on. I'm very excited to get Cooper Kupp back, first and foremost. Excited about Leveston long-term. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything this year worth anything, and that's okay. But long-term, I like his upside. Joe Noteboom is going to help. I think it's a huge upgrade at left guard over Logan Bruss, who is predominantly a right-side offensive lineman, and I think he's done everything he can playing the left. Avila, Puka Nacua, this is going to be great. Jonah Jackson, to me, I don't think is necessarily a need. And I know he can help, but I'm not saying he can't. But to me, once you get back Kupp, Noteboom, Avila, Puka Nacua, John Johnson, and Higbee, you're good. I'm willing to let Jonah Jackson just kind of work through this and not rush him back. I totally get it. So we'll see how things go, but that was definitely not the worst news that you could have gotten. I think that was some pretty good news from Sean McVay. I think likely you're going to see 6 of the injured guys back by the Seahawks game. That's a good sign. So, get ready. They're ramping up. We're going to find out what this team is made of, but that's all I got for you guys. So if you like this, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe, comment, and follow me on all social media at JKBogan. And yeah, I'll be back soon. Be sure to check out today's sponsor, Prize Picks, JKBogan. Get $50 on your first $5 lineup. You guys take care. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.